Okay, welcome March 8th, 2023. Um, Again, another volatile day. Not as bad as yesterday. Basically, the speaking again started at 10, and then there was some data in the morning, I think. Jolts jobs and something else. Just let me look here. I kind of had a little note. Exports, imports, trade balance, Powell, and Jolts. So a lot of that happened in the morning. Powell happened at 10. I think Jolts happened about 10 as well. So some volatility into that. On the daily, we had the sell candle yesterday after it broke the lows after that nice rally, and then the rollover. And then today, basically, we broke the lows during that initial news, and then we reclaimed the 145, and we spent the rest of the day basically above that. So not too much happened. And in the overnight session, basically we are rejecting that high. Didn't even quite get up to it. Basically rejected the body of the candle, and now we're selling a little bit. So we'll see what happens overnight. Let's go into the day. Start with a 5. Okay. I changed a couple levels. I had 2 levels here yesterday, so I actually had 255 to 275, and I reduced it to 1. So I missed the high slightly, but I was still kind of keeping a mental note on that. But the reason I did that is just it was obvious support and resistance here yesterday. So I figured that would kind of be the important one, but basically anywhere in that range is kind of important. So let's start with the overnight session. So in the close on Tuesday, we hit 145, and I was saying in Globex, I'm looking for longs off 145 or the breakdown into the 1295. So we got the long, basically failed break in the overnight session. You could have I also shorted it about here yesterday, about 180, risking to just over these highs. So only about 10 points of risk. Like right in there, kind of shorting in here, risking to just over that. So depending where you filled, it would have been about 10-12 points of risk, which is not bad. Profit target into 145, and then after the 145 long, targeting 195. So it hit that at 4 in the morning, and then again at 6. It held here, and I was thinking perhaps a long in the early session, just risking a few points. Let's go into the small time frame so you can see. Yeah, so basically it tested in here. I was thinking maybe breaking higher, but it rolled over, and then I shorted this, the 195 retest, and it actually came back down to 145 before market opened, right? And then again, another possibility for a short, but it wouldn't have worked out, okay? Or the 145 long would have also been another good play, right? So 195 and 145 both offered nice shorts and longs. Lots of nice range there. This is where there's some data in here, so the price action is kind of irrational, right? But if you get a move like this, sell was kind of slow and expected, then you get this big rally, right? But we never reclaim this level, and then it starts selling right away. So even if you didn't get short there, you can usually join in, because a reaction like this followed by a sell like this is not really healthy. And then same with the rally off of it, right? very irrational price action, right? New lows theoretically should have came up, made a lower high, and then made the next leg down, but we did not get that. Okay, so let's go to the RTH session. Let's start on the 5, just so you can kind of see the broader picture. So in the morning, basically we popped up into this kind of garbage here before getting that sell into the speaking news. It was a tougher morning. Lots of range, lots of volatility. You had to really stick to your thesis and position well. Otherwise, you kind of would have got screwed, right? So I wanted to try long, but I wanted to try long at the gap fill. Tried long, didn't like how it was acting, right? I was thinking gap fill, test, a little bit of consolidation, and then right up, right? So we got this candle here, and then I closed along, and I decided to try short with my stops above here. Wasn't patient enough sitting through this, ended up moving to break even, got stopped at break even, and then got the sell there. So missed that. Frustrating. And then it reclaimed immediately. I was thinking, okay, test 145, further breakdown. But no, it came up, made a higher high, came back down, made a lower low from this. Not lower than this, but buyers kind of stepped in at 145. So 145 offered okay plays. And you could have definitely tried the 145. But you got to be really patient on your fills, right? Like if you marketed order just up a little here, you probably get stopped depending on what you're risking. So it did make the higher high than this, and this did make the higher lows than this. So the potential was there for longs, but you had to be really on it where you filled. And then we got this little teeny tiny downtrend kind of break. No follow through right away. Came down, kind of playing on all of this price action, which makes sense all in here. So dips were viable. Days like this, you don't want to long the breakouts and you don't want to short the breakdowns. You want to play something where there's easier risk, right? Like these guys are getting short probably versus this. These guys are getting long just based on this, probably risking fixed points. Right, and then it pops up. We have this trend line here, holds in there. Again, kind of irrational price movement, is not really strong. Pops up higher high than the opening. Like in my mind, it would come down to here, consolidate or test and go if there was strength, but very, very hard movements. So I guess reversals were kind of the theme of the day. You had to take profits quickly, and hard to get full level to level moves, right? So if you shorted this breakdown, very quickly turned into a reversal. So whenever you're playing news days, just be aware of that. I'm kind of learning this too. Make your thesis, right? If you see, like here, you kind of see consolidation, something easy to risk to, you can try a short in there. Risking versus this, look for the previous lows or where it would maybe make a higher low, take your profits and run, right? Or comes up and it's doing something like to me here, right around here is where the rejection should be, 0.5 or 0.6 fib and a level. And it just right through it, squeezer. But it immediately sells off. So again, near a level, so you don't want to be getting long up here. The only real opportunity is short. And again, same thing. Once it breaks the range, kind of like this one took a while, but basically once it breaks this range and you're getting closes underneath it, it's sell city, right? And then same with here. Kind of in this range, start getting closes underneath, like breaks, reclaims, people short versus this, couple points, breaks, rolls over, right? So that was kind of the theme of the day. I did call it along with the 145, profits into 185. Again, wasn't sure, was it going to roll over? Kind of this downtrend line here. So makes logical sense to try. Protect profits a little bit. And then we ended up getting the squeeze into the end of the day, right? So came up slightly higher than 195. So you could have shorted 195. Depending on your stop, you would have been okay. But the better short would have been the rollover and then risking versus that high. And or even trying to fill slightly over 195, risking versus this. Rolls over, kind of consolidates, and it's sitting right on this trend line. And I called this one out as well. Not an entry, but I was just saying I was short from the rollover into here. I initially stopped, short the rollover, coming into here. You know, trend line, it's only been tested 3 times, really. Worth taking profits. And then we got this little downtrend break into the close, right? Breaks the downtrend, clears this high, which I was calling. I was calling for initially high a day, but we got real close. If you look at this on the 10K tick chart, it actually will show you where this rejected is on the 10K tick chart. It is a downtrend line as well. So same thing. As soon as we broke these highs here, as soon as we broke this little range, shorts give up, turn into buyers, pops. This is last chance short, basically 195 risking versus this again for the break of this. Price action towards the end of the day was a little bit more normal compared to this. So it was actually a little easier to trade. Anyways, cleared this, and shorts just got squeezed. You could try short here, but again, you're breaking the downtrend already. And at the same time, in here, yes, had a lot of room, right? So I would be hesitant shorting this. So you could join long if expecting the squeeze, but the better long is down here, or at the very least over this line, risking versus lows. But it's a little too much risk for me. I like 12 to 15 points only, or size down if you need to double the pointage. Yeah, and then it got us that big squeeze, and I was kind of like, it was about 10-15 minutes left. I was hoping we'd see a pop over this and a squeeze into the next level, but it kind of stalled and sold off, which was, I mean, that was almost very close to 100 points in, 10-15 minutes, so not bad. Anyway, so notes for the day, basically, big news where the news cycles are long. Just be patient, plan your fills, and then let the trade complete. Don't, the price action is irrational and volatile, and it's very hard to read on a moment's notice. I found, like, I'm a discretionary trader, but this was just moving even too quick for me. Like I say, the only thing you can do is make your thesis. You made the higher high. If it comes back down here, I'm kind of interested in a long, risking X points, right? And then you're okay. So 10, 12 points in here would have been okay. 10, 12 points in here would have been okay. Short after the failure to hold above 195, which is also a breakdown play. 12 points would have been okay. Or on the reclaim here, 12 points would have been okay. So reclaims, I don't like to get the reclaim on the initial because it can just come up sell. I'd rather see like price consolidate a little bit above and then long, right? 12 here, you would have got about 1-to-1 risk. In here was tough. kind of going into lunch. But again, irrational, but workable, just depending on how you play. Anyways, I think that's it. For tomorrow, I'm kind of looking. I like the idea of it coming down to fill this little gap here. Right? This is kind of what I'm looking for. As long as we don't. So yeah, I'm looking kind of for that little gap fill. And then I'm hoping for a little bit more. Like I'd like to see 25. It hasn't really been retested on there. But I'd like to see that little gap fill as long as we don't clear 50. Right? Because so far, lower high, lower high, lower high. And then in Globex, it's making a lower high as well. And selling. So right here, it looks like it wants to make a try. You know, it's kind of failing to break down, right? There's not a lot of momentum or sell pressure. It might have to wait till London. But here is actually probably worth a long, I'd risk maybe versus this. Risk 12 points. And then I would target 65 or higher, which is definitely a possibility. Something like, you know, it's got to kind of go up, test it, got to make a higher high, and then just kind of grind like that. And that's a pretty good target, right? I wouldn't mind something like that. You know, you're breaking kind of this downtrend. Might take a while. It could come up, it could test, and then it could come down and sell. So to me, once you got the move away from 195, I'd leave my stop probably at 12 points and then go to bed. It either works or it doesn't work. I don't think I would try and short 65. Let's see. No, you're kind of making higher highs. Depending on how I would watch to see the reaction first. Yeah, I think that's what I think. Just let me look at the 4 a little bit. So overall, I think structure is still okay as long as we kind of hold this area. We maybe will come back up to here, but I'm not sure. So we have tested downtrend line is a downtrend, slight uptrend from the lows. You know, it might be kind of bouncy for a little while in here. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. Like I say, I'm not much of a longer term, where's we gonna go? I'm like an intraday, we're gonna go, I think here if I break this kind of player. So anyways, I think that's it for tonight. Have a good night, guys.